Hello, all you crypto aficionados, and we got your daily dose of crypto news for you. First of all, Sam Bankman-Fried will testify in his own case, and I know some of you are hoping that he might have some dirt on a certain SEC regulator, but I actually don't think that's the case. Because I've said this before, if he did, he would have said something by now. SBF is not your best person for keeping secrets, and if he thought he could help himself by outing Gary Gensler or anyone else, he would have done it a long time ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. I don't really know why his lawyers are actually even letting him testify, outside of the fact that he probably really wants to testify himself because he thinks he knows how things work. But every time he's actually said anything to the cameras or anything in public or like testified, he's been a complete disaster. He's also calling 3 expert witnesses to the stand in order to try to find some irregularities or inconsistencies with the testimonies of Caroline Ellison, Gary Wang, and Nishad. It's mostly going to be Gary Wang and Nishad they're going to try to pick at to try to discredit them on the stand. Now, like I said, Sam Bankman-Fried, like Donald Trump, has been given a gag order for trying to intimidate witnesses, notably Caroline Ellison. I think in a lawsuit, you are not allowed to discredit those witnesses, the witnesses against you, outside of in the courtroom. The courtroom is the only place you can try to discredit them. Obviously, you're fighting lawsuits, so you have to discredit them in the courtroom. But outside, you can't really make any statements. If you're the defendant, you cannot make any statements about the prosecution team, about like the defendants, usually, or they give you a gag order. And Sam Bankman-Fried got hit with the same gag order. Because he's not the former president, he doesn't have certain protections that the former president has. And of course, he got thrown in jail for repeated violations of both his bail conditions, and he's getting in trouble because of the gag order as well. So the thing is, he's going to testify on the stand. My guess is going to be a spectacular show, and he's going to screw himself again because SBF just cannot help but go off script and basically like screw himself when he says something. I'd be very surprised if he actually said something about regulators. Yes, I know that it looks fishy to a lot of you that Gary Gensler did wine and dine him a couple of months before FTX fell apart, but I actually don't think he had too much to do with FTX. And a lot of people are saying, like, you must be really naive to think that a couple of kids like Caroline Ellison, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Nishad and Gary Wang can pull off this giant heist by themselves. And you know, the thing is, like, I think you're also forgetting what industry we're in if you're actually thinking that. And you got to stop thinking of these guys as kids. Like, they're adults. They were like 30 years old when they pulled this crap off. They're not kids. They're fully functioning, well, I guess you could argue the fully functioning part. They're fully functioning adults that have like, they're smart guys. They all went to like MIT, Stanford, or whatever. They're like Ivy League college people. And they're actually very smart and mischievous in all this stuff. And they have the ability to actually plan this out, at least in the realm of crypto. You guys also forget that crypto is a very easy industry to actually fool people in and get people to throw money at you because A, there's a lot of desperate people, and B, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists. And like, you can literally get conspiracy theorists to believe in just about anything. I mean, the thing is, especially if they're desperate to make money. Look at the crypto world. This is not like the only scam there's been. There's like been like Axie Infinity, you know, like all these Ronin hacks. There's the Terra Luna thing that just happened right before. There was like BitConnect and all that other stuff that happened before that. I mean, you can find 100 examples of where the government was not involved in a scam and people fell for it. FTX just happened to be a little bit bigger, well, a lot bigger than any of those. But it's not inconceivable at all that a couple of smart guys from Ivy League schools that had some trading background basically duped a ton of people, including regulators, that they were the golden boys of this industry, and they were making extreme profits off their platform. As long as they were able to broadcast that, people would invest in them. This is the crypto world you're talking about. These are not expert financial and economic investors and analysts. These are basically day-gens who want to make 100x in a single day. And if you have a lot of day-gens that want to make 100x in a single day, like, or in a few weeks, you're going to have a lot of easy people to actually take advantage of. Add on top of that, it's full of conspiracy theorists, and you get like all these theories about like, oh, if I invest in this, the government supports this, even though the government obviously didn't. Like the government supports this, and they've like basically put all their money behind FTX, which is obviously untrue. But you could literally get people in crypto to actually believe that garbage. Because like, you know, it's not like they haven't believed that garbage before. You are talking about the industry where one Elon Musk tweet can take a meme coin from like 5 cents to 70 cents. Like that's tens of billions of dollars right there. Given that industry, how can you possibly not believe that a team of Ivy School League kids can actually dupe a lot of people in this particular industry of tens of billions of dollars? It's actually really reasonable that they're able to do so because of the makeup of the people in this industry. So I think people are like overestimating the analytical and basically like common sense abilities of people in crypto, because common sense is lacking a lot in crypto. You can actually get, and you know, even after FTX, I believe if someone came up with another scam like this, people would fall for it. They'd be tripping over themselves to fall for this stuff. Like, because a lot of people just really haven't learned, and they're just as desperate. You don't need Gary Gensler or the SEC to help you on this. You just need to come up with a product that looks like it's making a lot of money, especially in a bear market where everyone is trying to actually find some way to beat the market and make money. That's why people go for 125x leverage trades on assets that can move 10% a day by themselves. I mean, realistically, what are we talking about here? Like, when assets can often move 5-10% a day by themselves without any leverage, and you're still going 125x leverage, that is a community, that is an industry that is just ripe for people to take advantage of. You gotta look at it that way. Like, what type of people are actually in crypto, like how desperate they are, how willing they are to believe in conspiracy theories, and like theories of like, oh, this project is going to just dominate everything. When you have that put together and all coming into like one space, it is so easy to take advantage of people. So people should not be surprised at all that Sam Bankman-Fried somehow played a bunch of people in crypto and scammed tens of billions of dollars without any help from the feds. Because realistically, when you have those kind of people that are that desperate and that want to make money that much, you don't need any help from the feds at all to actually pull off what SBF does. But SBF is also kind of delusional in himself, and he thinks he can probably help himself with the testimony. So I do look for him to trip all over himself in the testimony and in the cross-examinations. He's probably going to go to jail for a very long time. And yeah, I'm just thinking that like Sam Bankman-Fried, he's done, man. He's done, and no one can actually help him. And I think like his co-founders completely just buried him under everything. The other thing is like, the Bitcoin pump we got to talk about. People have actually made a really good point about the Bitcoin pump. It's not just the ETF that's pumping it up. Like, you have to remember, before all the ETF hype started, we already pumped from 15,000 to like 26,000. And like, yes, the ETF did take us from like 26,000 to 34,000, but still the majority of the pump was without the ETF hype. You just basically have Bitcoin going really low, and I think smart money has realized that when you have a black swan event, unless you have another one, it's really not going any lower than that. Because like, you know, I think there were people that bought in, like institutions that bought in after Terra Luna, and then they bought in after FTX. Now, obviously, unfortunately, FTX followed Terra Luna, so they were wrong in buying after Terra Luna because no one really saw FTX coming. But after FTX, that was just a giant, basically, wipeout. And they bought after FTX too, and they were right about buying FTX because there was nothing that really happened after FTX that would shatter the market down. And the thing is, like, we know that BlackRock is starting to seed their fund. They've probably been like covertly buying for a while. So a lot of that support is coming from institutions. And since they're actually buying for their ETF fund, they're not likely to sell. So there's going to be a lot of buying pressure regardless in the next couple of weeks. And plus, like, I think like retail is just starting to FOMO in as well. and people are still always looking for other investments outside of the like the general like bonds and stocks. Yes, bonds have been looking really good lately, but there are still a good group of people that are looking for more than 5% a year, especially with the inflation the way it is right now. So there's a lot of different factors contributing to the Bitcoin pump. You know, there's like the smart money coming in from the ETFs, obviously, but there's a lot of people that also think that Bitcoin has made the bottom, because Bitcoin usually does make the bottom about a year after it makes the top. You know, there's also like the factor that like, you know, people are looking for an investment that can beat inflation. And even though bond rates are really good, it doesn't really beat inflation. And also, like with BlackRock and everyone else saying that Bitcoin is a flight to quality, I think a lot of people have gained, actually gained confidence in the market. So it's not only the ETF, there's a whole bunch of other factors. And that's why I think the support for Bitcoin is fairly strong, and why we won't have a massive dump. We're going to have small ups and downs, but I do think like the lowest we'll dip is after this is like 25K, if it even dips to 25K. So that's my news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.